Regtech is the secret source of financial institutions, fintechs, and virtual asset service providers. Industry associations can bring together such regulated entities and solution providers to identify and address pain points and emerging developments, and to apply ABCD technologies to onboard and delight customers, detect and report financial crime, and foster overall governance, risk, and compliance management. Industry associations can build on our Regtech community of practice through monthly meetings, Regtech live demo events, annual World Regtech summits, webinars, publishing white papers, establishing cross-border APAC Regtech networks, and upskilling professionals in Regtech. We also represent Hong Kong in international Regtech events and author Regtech books. As a collective voice, we collaborate with and often cajole our Hong Kong government and regulators to grow our ecosystem to maintain Hong Kong's position as a leading international financial center together. Thank you.
The need for banks to adopt Regtech is increasing exponentially. There are many drivers. Top of mind for banks are better customer experience, more efficient risk management and controls, and rising regulatory expectations. By participating in the Regtech ecosystem, banks can tap into the network of Regtech vendors to learn of the latest technology and solutions out there available to tackle the bank's specific regulatory compliance needs. Banks can also hear from each other the experience in Regtech adoption, how to get started, what to avoid, and better strategize in this rapidly evolving landscape. Industry associations such as FTA HK can help pull the buy and sell sides of Regtech closer together, organize Regtech upskilling and education events, as well as engaging collectively with regulators to exchange views on consultations and gain support on Regtech adoption to drive the best industry and customer outcome. For example, by participating in FTA HK's Regtech Committee's monthly meetings, banks and Regtechs regularly exchange news on regulatory hot topics such as crypto assets, stablecoins, ESG, and draw meaningful dialogues on how these requirements may be better supported by Regtech solutions. The network events are most popular, really opening up the door for banks to engage more directly with Regtech vendors. For example, through HKMA's Global Regtech Challenge and the Hong Kong FinTech Week last year, which was proudly supported by FTA HK, we got to know so many winners. And one of the winners who won for the product due diligence solution, we started dialogue with them and got interested in an offering of speech-to-text solution for surveillance. And voila, we have now partnered with them and completed a really successful proof of concept, moving on to the next phase of deployment. So join us in this Regtech community. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to thank HKMA for organizing this. What benefits Regtech companies can gain from participating in the Regtech ecosystem is a really important question. We have seen from our first-hand experience working with Regtech companies a number of very important benefits and even some surprises. Now, if you ask anyone working on Regtech to name 3 things that they want most, it's very likely that the first thing they want is to engage with the regulator to get guidance and feedback on the products and solutions. The second would be to engage with a bank to really create a compelling Regtech use case. And the third one would be to engage with even more banks and other financial institutions so that you can scale your business. And to fulfill all 3 wishes, the most effective way that we have seen is to participate in the Regtech ecosystem. An example would be last year's HKMA Global Regtech Challenge. A number of Science Park Regtech companies have entered into the competition. Results were delivered. Throughout the process, those Regtech companies got to engage with the regulator and banks to really understand what is needed from the regulator's perspective and the way banks would want to fulfill those obligations. Innovators do what innovators do best. They create innovative solutions by leveraging the latest technology, such as AI and blockchain, to create Regtech solutions. Not only were they able to accelerate the normally very long sales cycle for Regtech, there were also other surprising benefits that we didn't anticipate. For example, the Regtech companies that have received awards from the HKMA Global Regtech Challenge were able to scale rapidly their business to other banks and financial institutions, addressing similar regulatory challenges faced by all of them. Furthermore, we have also seen some of the Regtech companies doing so well that they further develop their use cases to expand beyond compliance in banks, as the credibility you gain from working with regulators and banks will open a lot of doors for you in other regulated industries. And those are the key points that I wanted to share with you today. Thank you.
As banks continue to ramp up adoption of new technologies to help drive effectiveness and efficiency, Regtech firms need to be well resourced in country and have a carefully articulated value proposition for the different stakeholders, from end users through to board directors, to understand where technologies will help in risk mitigation or automation. My 3 key takeaways for Regtech companies on how to better engage with the banking industry are: 1. Always be networking. Regtech firms need to engage with multiple stakeholders, leverage the broader risk and compliant networks within industry and internally within banks themselves, while utilising associations such as the Regtech Association of Hong Kong and the FinTech Association of Hong Kong to create thought leadership events and content. 2. Lead with insight. Banks rely on market experts to educate them on best practices, introducing new ideas and ultimately driving adoption. Whilst many banks will utilise third-party consultancies, Regtech firms are uniquely placed to educate the market on solutions, connect multiple parties, and adding value via educating market participants on Regtech adoption benefits. And thirdly, be patient. Engaging with banks typically takes months, if not years, before being onboarded as a supplier, with numerous stakeholders that will go through the planning, design, and buying process. These interactions are typically initiated through connection to banks in networking environments, but must be continued on an ongoing basis. No single bank is the same as another. All banks will be on a different adoption journeys, which need carefully curated engagement plans and technology design to ensure you're meeting individual requirements of the banks. This takes time, focus, resilience, and above all, a great deal of patience. Thank you.